Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. We are back with a brand new review of Ready to Love Season 5, Episode 12, the finale. Child, listen, okay? It was giving nothing, okay? It was giving absolutely nothing, honey. The whole season fell flat, and the finale fell flat as well. If you are new here, then welcome. I give lighthearted reviews with a little bit of laughter and a little bit of shade and a whole lot of detail. If you are back for a second or third time, then welcome back. Y'all, please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you get anything out of the content. Now, child, let's get into it if we gonna get into it. When the episode first opens up, we see Sydney and Phil, right? So they meet up because she wants to get his side of the story. So Sydney, of course, is blushing and gushing all over Phil, child, playing up that femininity and whatnot. So they were talking about their dates, and she was like, oh yeah, that's when I started liking you on that one. We had a good time at that one too. I'm like, okay girl, just get to it. So she was like, yeah, I just need to switch gears for a minute to something a little bit more serious. Okay, so we had our women's lounge and the conversation went to you and Shiloh, and she said you picked her up and she told you no. And Phil is like, oh, well, I need to make sure that I clear things up since I'm leaning towards Sydney. Sir, you aren't leaning. You're linked, honey. You're linked in. You're all the way in with Sydney. Stop. I'm leaning towards Sydney. We're at the end. This is the finale. Ugh. Anywho, you like Sydney, just say that. That's why the whole problem happened between you and Shiloh now. You pretending that you didn't like Sydney the way that you do. Moving forward. So he tells her that he and Shiloh's recollections of the events are totally different. Yeah, because y'all had that liquor involved. Okay, if y'all would have put down them drinks. Well, you said you only had one shot. But if there were no alcohol involved, then your recollections probably would have been about the same. But she feels how she feels because she didn't want you picking up and touching her and whatnot. Okay, so for future, keep your hands to yourself when someone is upset. Child, because you don't need no foolishness. But it was his judgment call, he said. And he was like, you know what? I just needed to do that. I needed to pick her up. I didn't want to pick her up, but I wanted to bring her back to safety. Phil, how is it? This is just a question that I have for you. And Phil, I'm speaking directly to you, honey. How is it that you can articulate things so eloquently to Sydney? And then when you get with Shiloh, you were sitting at the table saying her making you talk about your feelings and whatnot was a little bit annoying. You're annoying. Okay? Just so we're clear. Moving forward. So Sydney is like, well, I don't feel any differently about you. I'm sure people will say that you're calm and peaceful. I can only go off of the way that you have treated me, and I think that you're an okay guy. She said, I cannot see you picking someone up aggressively. Sydney, we all were on the same page. Moving forward. He said, in normal Sydney fashion, she was very understanding. He's like, it's an amazing feeling to have someone like her and have their understanding. So then Sydney said, it really made us closer that he was so vulnerable with me. Where was he vulnerable? I don't know. Maybe they edited that part out, honey. Maybe we have different definitions of vulnerability. Maybe that's it. Moving forward. In the next scene, they're having one last brunch for all the singles. Everybody's showing up. Sabrina back in that Barbie wig. Sabrina, leave that wig at home, girl. Walter was like, I'm very happy. My connection with Sabrina is still strong and I have no hard feelings towards Mumin. Why do you keep mentioning her, sir? She's moved on, honey. She's moved forward. She over here with Frank. Okay? So therefore, thus and such, there's no reason to say you don't have any hard feelings against her because we've already had this talk when she was almost eliminated, remember? Child, quiet as it's kept. Walter actually wanted Mumin. Now that I think about it, because if she would have stayed right instead of going left over there with Frank, they would be together and Sabrina would be at the house. Moving forward. So they're all gathering and the brunch is underway and Mumin, Frank, and Sydney, they're all at one table, right? So Sydney is like, so we're getting down to the wire. Child, Frank starts coughing and choking, honey, because, they caught him off guard. Sir, at this time in our lives, all that coughing, honey, it's a no-go. Like, go collect yourself, sir. Clear your throat, honey. Drink a little beverage. She was like, are you parched? What's going on? So Frank is nervous about being with both of them. But Sydney is like, I don't get nervous when I'm with you both. Of course you don't. You won't feel. You hoping Mumin take him off your hands. Over on the other side, Sabrina over there asking Walter about this wig. Girl, draw as less attention to that wig as possible. He's like, yeah, I like the switch up. Okay, so Walter got a little line problem. See, but I knew it. I knew it from the start, honey. You gonna look at that wig and say you like the switch up, you got a little line problem. Moving forward. So she's asking him how he's feeling, and he's like, I'm good. She's like, well, are you having any second thoughts? He said, nope. Walter acting a little funny style to me today. I don't know what it is, but it's like, I know you want to get into that French toast and that fried chicken or whatever y'all got on this brunch plate, but sir, like, can we get something else? Like, it's giving, please shut up and eat. That's what it's giving to me. He said, the universe reveals what needs to be revealed. What does that mean? What does it mean, sir? So Sabrina was like, we're at the end. This is what she's saying in her confessional. And he seems genuine, but his vibe and his energy, the energy that she's getting is telling her that something is different. She's like, it's like he doesn't, it's not the same. It's that wig, sis. It's that wig. No, I'm just kidding. But seriously, Walter not into Sabrina like that. Like, he just wanted to make it to the end. And I told y'all from the start, when he was giving Joel 2.0, when he kept bringing it up, okay, that something about Walter just was not sitting right in my spirit, honey. I didn't trust him from the start. I don't know what it was. It just, I don't know. I got bad vibes. So Tommy comes in, putting on the Ritz, and he tells the men that it's their turn for the women to be introduced to their family. Y'all just doing anything for episodes at this point, honey. Just come on in and tell us who you chose. Because why are y'all still meeting the families? And really, you shouldn't even be meeting no families right now. Okay, because y'all don't even know each other like that. You've literally been talking to each other for all of 8 weeks. Probably 3 times a week. So, we don't really know each other like that. But child, whatever for production, okay? He also tells them that their journey with him is over, but he hopes that their journey for love will continue. Moving forward. In the next scene, Frank is with his 2 cousins, Desiree and Tony, and we find out that Frank is an only child, so they're like his siblings. So he tells them that it's 2 women, so he needs their help. So Sydney arrives first, honey, with her casual fitted dress on. Child, she love to put on a freakum dress, don't you? So she kisses Frank. Sydney is very physical and touchy. She gonna kiss you on the mouth in the middle of this panorama if she don't do nothing else, child. So as soon as she sits down, she's like, so how would he be as a father? Girl, not father. Like, reel it in, honey, reel it in. They're like, well, why don't we go eat first? Child, not all this on an empty stomach. Let the people get something in their stomach first before you start asking all these questions. So then they pan over to Mumin, and his cousins were like, oh, y'all look great together. They really do look nice together, and I really think the cousins are feeling Mumin over Sydney, because there's something a little off about the interaction between Sydney and his family. Or maybe that's just me. So then Frank's cousin Tony asked how she felt about Frank having a lot of female friends. Honey, I'm sure she has a lot of male friends as well. She said, well, I'm used to him being in the bar scene and in the nightlife, and he really makes me feel comfortable. So I'm not the jealous type, and I know where I stand, so I think we're good. Back with Mumin, they asked her about kids. Now, mind you, y'all see the flip? She asked about how he would be as a father, but they actually want to know about kids from her perspective. So I feel like they wanted to know a little bit more in depth about Mumin than they did Sydney. Because, sometimes Sydney comes off as giving shallow. So back with them, she was like, yeah, I feel like I want 3, but the older I get, the less that I want. So she said the most important thing is if they can financially support them. And I thought that was a very mature answer, because if you're thinking about the financial aspect of it, then you're understanding that these are things that you need to have in place before you just start having all these kids, child. Because kids ain't cheap, and it becomes more expensive as they get older. Now, I know in the real world, you cannot plan your finances around a child. Sometimes it just happens. But you do want to make sure you're someplace you want to be before you start having kids. I'm just saying. So she also tells them that she wants her kids to be raised in a Christian household. They were like, oh, that's dope. Okay, the cousins really are taking a liking to Mumin, honey. They like her. Moving forward. Over with Sydney, they asked her what made Frank different. She said, it's just him being so much like me being able to read him. Like if something's on his mind, I could just look at him and be like, we see each other. Shout out to Candy Burris and Nene Leaks. So basically, she was just saying that we're one and the same, and their foundation was built on the friendship. Yes, and he's also in the friend zone. So I don't even understand why you sitting here with his family knowing you gonna choose Philip. Moving forward. Mumeem asks on the other side if he's ready to, ready to love. So his cousin Desiree was like, he's always been ready to love. He just hasn't found the right person. She said he needs a woman who can understand the direction that he's headed. He has a lot going for himself, so he needs a woman to support him in that. So Mumeem said, I really feel confident after meeting with his family, but it all boils down to who he's going to choose, whether it be me or Sydney. So child, we shall see. In the next scene, they pan over to Sydney, and she asks them where Frank needs growth. And I thought that was a great question, because when you know what it is they need to work on, then either if you're ready to deal with that or not. So then Desiree gonna say, he's flawless. Wake up, flawless. Shout out to Beyonce. He's perfect. Girl, ride for Cuzzo, I'm all for it, okay? But nobody is perfect. Girl, what are you talking about? She may have been a little too young for this task. Like, we all can improve. Girl, go ahead and go tuck yourself in, child, because it's for the adults. Moving forward. So Tony said, well, I feel the same because of, where he is now versus where he came from. Your cousin's not perfect. He's not. Okay. And judging from the clips from that reunion and that preview, he is definitely giving less than perfect. But child, let's continue. So Sydney said after meeting his family that she's still on the fence between him and Phil. Girl, the cousins feel like personality is Sydney's strong suit and family values is Mumeem's. Mumeem has a nice personality as well. Sydney just over the top bubbly, like, oh my God, hey everybody. She seems like a really sweet girl, but she's just over the top. But I don't think her personality is any greater than Mumeem's, but that's just my opinion. So Sydney's family meeting was awkward AF, because I was like, I don't think they really like her too tough. Like, it's almost like either she or Frank didn't really want to be there. I don't know. The energy was off. I'm feeling him, Mumeem, a little bit, but Frank won't have a substantial relationship with her in the end. It just won't. He's still for the streets. Them shoulders still for the streets. Baby, them shoulders still for the streets. Also, why is Mumeem wasting time? Because Frank is hypersexual and she is wearing that chastity belt until she walks down the aisle. Child, y'all just be doing any old thing and thinking we forgot. Moving forward. In the next scene, Walter comes in to his sister and his aunt, but he called his aunt Thea. And I was like, is he Hispanic? Oh, okay. I did not realize that Walter is Afro-Latina. Child, you learn something new all up and through the episodes. So, child, he sits down. They're asking him 21 questions. How old is she? She got any kids? Does she have any pets? Dang. He's like, grill her, not me. Exactly, honey. They didn't understand the assignment. So Sabrina rolls up, sans wig. Oh, thank God. Child, I just knew she was going to show up to this meeting with this wig on. Shout out to Sabrina. So she tells them that she's from Korea. And Walter is like, oh, I'm tripping. So his aunt was like, well, that's totally different. That's a totally different place from what he told us. Child, Walter don't want to be with Sabrina. He can't even remember where she's from. Maybe if you talked to her when the cameras were down, you would know. He's like, well, I told them you were from Virginia. I would have excused myself right then. I would have said, you know what? Excuse me. I'm going to go ahead and excuse myself. Virginia? Child, let me find out Mumeem from Virginia. Moving forward. So they're like, so what do you see in Walter? Sabrina said, it's just his aura. It was just coming off of him. Just something about him just drew me to him. So Sabrina said, so how is Walter in relationships? So her sister was like, he's really affectionate and he's going to focus on who he's with. He's very intentional. And she's like, well, the reason that I asked that, this is what she's saying in her confessional. I asked that question because throughout this process, Walter has not been affectionate with me. Sabrina, why are we here? The same thing Tommy asked Phil and Shiloh. Why are we here? Child, we could have had a V8. It's no reason to waste our time on Walter. He cannot be trusted. He thinks we're from Virginia. Like, no, it's a hell no. So she says she sees other couples getting lovey-dovey as the process is getting, down to the wire. But with him, there's no affection. He's just not that into you, Sabrina. He's just not. Moving forward. So then the aunt asked about kids, and Sabrina tells her that she has a daughter and she had her at 37 and she's a single mom. So the aunt was like, well, do you want her to have a father figure? And she said, I want her to have happiness in her life. The last guy that I was with, I thought he was going to stick around, but he did not. And in her confessional, she said, I'm not sure about Walter meeting my daughter because there's been so many red flags. See, this is a prime example of trying to date the red flags out of a man. Honey, it's not going to work. When you notice it, it's almost like school bullying. See something, say something. If you see the red flags, honey, say something about it. Address it right there. Cut it off at the knees. As soon as you see it, address it. Because, y'all, this right here, this is some foolery. Moving forward. She said, as I'm leaving the date, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is happening. I just met this man's family. Yes, girl, because the show produced an episode. It's Meet the Family. Walter doesn't even call outside of this show. Walter would not have introduced you had these people not said, you need to introduce your family, period. So once she leaves, his sister is like, well, she's different from the girls before. Well, we saw that, honey, when his ex Edward Scissorhands showed up with them claws she calls nails. Honey, we knew that was a different type of woman. We could tell that right there. And girl, moving forward. So Walter in his confessional is like, whatever happens, it happens. I like her as a person. See, I knew Walter could not. I like her as a person. Like, what does that mean? So she's just your friend? If you like her as a person, then you should at least know that she's not from Virginia. Honey, and I'm not going to let that go. I don't think his sister likes Sabrina. I didn't think she liked her at all. Moving forward. In the next scene, Dante is inviting over his brother Leroy and his cousin Darnell, and he put together a little brunch, honey, equipped with mimosas and whatnot. Baby brother got the shirt open, giving a little male cleavage. I'm like, they got that shirt open, child. So Aisha shows up. Baby, that brother was looking at Aisha, honey. She stacked, ain't she? Aisha, a brick house, baby. So Aisha shows up, and she's like, I'm back again. We know you done dotted that threshold before. Allegedly. So his brother was asking what brought her to DC, and she was like, I just got a divorce and I've been single for a while because of my kids, and I need to make sure that this is the right thing for me and for them. So they asked what attracted her to Dante, and she says, because he's funny. He's intentional. I can talk to him about things. So as she was saying that, they were over there like, okay. Child, they were nodding. Okay, yep, he sure is. He is funny. He is intentional. Okay. And then she said, I was raised by a Southern woman. The man needs to court me. Man comes for the woman, and she shows him how she lays it down in the house. So his brother said, oh. Baby, things took a turn then. He said, so does that mean that the woman takes care of the house and the guy takes care of outside the home? She's like, you can choose to work if you want to, but I believe that the man is the provider and the woman makes sure that the home is nice. If he wants to give me a bill or two, I'm fine with that. Shout out to Sean, honey, because he wanted a bill or two as well. She's like, I'm not opposed to that. His brother said, what about 50-50? She said, oh, no, not 50-50, a bill or two. Baby, she made sure to reiterate that, honey. Won't be no 50-50 over here. And you know what? Nowadays, some men, now not all of y'all, okay, because honey, I know how y'all like to tussle. Don't get down in the comments and lose your mind. Nowadays, some men, they want a roommate situation. 50-50 it up. But then, I have to sit and think. I guess it just depends on the finances, because a one-bedroom apartment, honey, is $9,000 and bread is $650. And don't think about getting peanut butter or jelly, honey. You definitely gonna be in the red. I'm just saying. Like, and you also have to know your partner. Dante is not the right man for that. Like, his child support alone gonna eat him up, child. He has 3 kids, sis. 3. Uno, dos, tres. In case we need to, put a little razzle dazzle on it. I'm just saying, child. I'm all for the man providing. Honey, provide for me. Honey, provide. But at the same time, in this economy, I guess it just depends. In this economy, honey, sometimes you got to do a little roommate situation with a little benefit on the side. But I'm glad that Aisha was intentional in what she wanted. She stated what she wanted. She was confident. She knew exactly what she wanted to say. Honey, she spoke her speech. She said what she said, and she ain't changed it. Moving forward. He said, well, we were raised by a single mom, and she taught us how to fish and about all these things about electrical work. She's like, oh, okay, yeah. He said, a woman can do what a man can do. She said, yes, I can build, but I want flowers. I want to be courted. I want a man to make me feel special. Honey, I know that's right. I don't think Dante knew all of this, because, honey, the way he was looking. She said, I want to sit in my feminine energy. Like, go be a man. Go get the bacon, bring it home, and I'll fry it up in a pan. I know that's real. So in the confessional, Dante gonna say, Yeah, well, Aisha has an interesting take. Translation. Girl, you gonna work and put it down because I got 3 kids. Honey, that's the translation for that. He said, she'd rather be in a feminine role and I kill the food and bring it home. It's an adjustment, but I'm up for the challenge. Unless your name is Fred Flintstone, I don't see you killing not nothing to bring home. And also, I call BS on being up for the challenge. Okay, now the two of you may work something else out, but I cannot see Aisha just sitting at home and you providing for her and for all your children as well. Like, it just ain't making no sense to me. Like, what do you do for a living? Child, let's really get to the real questions, honey, now that we've gotten that out of the way. Child, I can't wait to the reunion. So after she leaves, his cousin said, I liked her energy. Dante said, yes, she's very intentional. Honey, they love the word intentional. The word of the day is intentional. Moving forward. In the next scene, Phil invites his aunt and his cousin. And why didn't you get a shape up or brush your hair or do something? Are the barbers not open in D.C.? Your hair is very unkempt. Like, it's all over the place. At first, I tried to ignore it. I was like, okay, the time he came and sat down with Shiloh in front of nephew Tommy, I was like, okay, he been tussling all night. So maybe that's what's going on with his head. But that head still ain't brushed. Brush your hair. Wear your mask. Shout out to Andrew Caldwell. Y'all know I'm so silly. So Sydney rolls up with yet another tight Fashion Nova original. And his cousin asked what she liked about Phil. She said, he has a quiet strength about him. He's a protector. They're like, yep, he is quiet sometimes. So then Sydney was like, yeah, he's very talkative when he wants to be because he has me on the phone for like 2 hours. So his cousin said, well, what about the other 9? Girl, people got to work. This ain't high school. Child, we can't sit on the phone all day long. Phil said, oh, well, she got options too. So then she told him about Frank, which I think she gave him a little bit too much judge. Honey, you don't have to tell him all that. Just say, yes, in this process, we have several people to choose from, and I'm torn in between the two. Torn in between the two. Shout out to LaToya Luckett. So anyway, she torn in between the two. So she told him about Frank, and his cousin said, so would it be Frank if Phil weren't around? And she was like, you know what? That's a great question. I really need to think about that. But she was honest. She said that they have mutual friends and they have a good time together. But Phil is calm and peaceful, and she likes that. Cousin asking all the questions, hunty. Do y'all hear me? Cousin is asking the questions. So Phil said, his family really liked her, and he always smiles when he's around Sydney. I'm sure you do. Moving forward. So Sydney is like, I'm thinking about who to start a relationship with and who could possibly be my husband. Husband? Child, you putting a lot of stank on it. After she left, his cousin said, I like her. She had a good head on her shoulder. Child, Sydney only like Phil because of this show. I'm just calling it right now. This will wear off quickly. I'm just not seeing the gel. I don't know. It's like I want some of them to be in a productive relationship, but it's not given to me. Moving forward. Then we see Tommy. Tommy said 3 weeks ago, we gathered 22 singles from the Chocolate City, all searching for love in our nation's capital, and I pushed them to open their hearts. The remaining singles just might be ready to love. It all comes down to this. Today, the final singles will decide. All right, Tommy. Y'all know I love making fun of Tommy. I like Tommy as the host, though. He gives some zhuzh every now and again. I just like to make fun of him, child. So we are about to find out which of the couples are ready to love. Honey, not none, but go on, set yourself off. So we see Walter. Walter walks up with all these flowers. He's like, it's choosing day, so let's just walk into the sunset. Walter, stop it. So Sabrina walks up with her statement necklace. Honey, she gonna wear a statement necklace if she don't do nothing else. But the dress was beautiful. I was like, oh, and it's really, child, let me not say that because I'm gonna get ahead of myself. Child, I'll be ready to get to it. So then we see Sydney. Child, Sydney gonna wear an after 5 dress during the day if she don't do nothing else. Honey, and back in the day, that's what my grandmother used to call it, an after 5 dress. You wear an appropriate dress during the day, and when you get ready to go to happy hour or get it popping, then you wear the after 5 dress. Ooh, shout out to the 80s. So anywho, child, she got this after 5 dress on. She wears her club clothes during lunchtime. I just want her to put on a regular dress. Honey, it's almost like when Zadia used to wear that spandex everywhere she went. Child, this is a mess. So she said the journey has been, one for the books, but it was clear who she was going to choose. So then we see both Frank and Phil, and they walking. I was like, ooh, child, who is going to be? Phil, of course, walks right on up to Sydney. Shocker. So he said, from the first time I saw you, you showed me that I could continue the journey with you. He said, so I'm telling you right now, I choose you. She was like, so this is the thing. I'm like, girl, what? Not this is the thing. Then they pan over to Frank, and Frank is waiting, and Mumin walks up. Mumin, this color dress on this melanin. Mumin is so pretty. So pretty in that dress against that melanin skin. I loved it. But honey, those shoes are a no. Honey, color blocking gone wrong. I didn't like them shoes with that dress. Now, I love the dress separately, and it looked stunning against your skin. But I did not like those shoes with that. Honey, I didn't like it. So Frank tells her, he had a lot to consider, and he doesn't want to take her lightly. He's extremely confident that he's making the right decision, and he chooses her. Back over on the other side, Aisha walks up to Dante. Baby, Aisha is a baddie. Girl, I love this blue on you. Blue is your color, girl. It's giving. So we pan back over to Walter and Sabrina. Child, it's gonna get good. So he's telling her that at the retreat, he woke up with clarity. And he knew right then that he was choosing her. No, sir. You woke up with Mumin not speaking to you. So you chose Sabrina. Boy, anywho. So Sabrina's like, okay. Well, I sat with myself for 24 hours. And child, because he wasn't calling. So, of course, you had to sit with yourself for 24 hours. She was like, because it was important for me to make the right decision. Then we go back over to Phil and Sydney. And she was like, you give me butterflies. You give me butterflies inside. Shout out to MJ. So she goes, instantly, I knew that you were the one. And I was hoping that you would choose me because I choose you. Child, it's the dramatics, honey. It's the telenovela for me. So he gives her a bracelet for her birthday. And she's like, oh my God, you remember my birthday. And then this boat comes by and starts applauding because I guess they thought they got engaged. Child, this is on, honey. They ready to love. They ready to love, y'all. Child, I cannot be taken seriously, honey. Oh, child, this is a fool. Moving forward. So Frank is telling Mumin, if you'll have me, I choose you. Mumin said, from day one, I was into you. Girl, from day one, you was into Corey when he changed that tire. But continue. She's like, if we just keep the communication going, then we'll be good. She's like, you going to church with me? He said, yeah, let's go. Game, cap, boy, goodbye. He said, no, I mean it. Oh, okay, you must have heard me screaming out game. He must have heard me saying cap as soon as he said it, child. I am so happy somebody got Mumin, honey, because she wasn't going to rest until they did. I mean, she dated Corey for Pete's sake. Go on, take Frank and shimmy off into the sunset. Moving forward. Back over with Sabrina, she's still talking to Walter. So she told him, throughout this process, yes, we did have some ups and downs and there were some things that happened, but the process wasn't happy for me. She said, from the beginning, I always chose you, but you made me feel like number two. She said I wasn't getting phone calls or texts. She said you were consistent for like a week and a half, and I appreciate that, but I know how it feels to be pursued by a man that really wants me. And what I got from you is not that. Baby! Sabrina said she went through weeks of inconsistency. She said, so I deserve the best, and at this point, our journey has to end right here. Yes, Sabrina, honey, you better speak your speech, honey. This right here is a great example of not choosing someone just because they choose you. A perfect example of that. I don't tell people I love them just because they tell me they love me. Friends, relationships, I have to actually feel that. I have to actually mean that. Because if I say to you, I love you, I love you. I'm going to love you down. Do you hear me? But if I don't love you, I'm not going to just say it just because you said it. And just because he chose her to get to the end doesn't mean that she had to choose him. Honey, she chose her. Girl, you better get your Kyra on. Moving forward. I'm very proud of her, though. She said, I'm not choosing just for me, but I'm choosing for my daughter as well. Baby, Walter's face was crizacked. Do y'all hear me, honey? That face was cracked. She's like, I hope you understand. So here go Walter. She caught me off guard. I hadn't spoken to her since she met my family. That's the problem right there, bucko. You haven't spoken to her since she met your family. And I don't know if that was yesterday or whatever. But after I meet your family, I would expect a phone call. Like, sir, get real. He was like, I thought it was all good. You didn't even know where she was from. Shut up, Walter. Moving forward. She's like, okay, give me a hug. We'll talk soon, I hope. He goes, yeah, give me a call. She said, yeah, I'm going to have to call your ass because you don't call me. Baby, Sabrina grabbed them roses though. Did y'all peep that? Baby, she picked them roses right on up, honey. Now you can watch her walk away. I'm a savage, huh? Classy, bougie, ratchet, huh? I know that's right, girl. Shout out to Megan Thee Stallion. Girl, you better get your roses and walk away. That's your problem now, Walter. You want her to do all the calling. That's why you standing here overlooking this balcony with your ankles out. Child, it's a fool. It wasn't gonna work anyway, honey. Again, he wants kids and she doesn't want kids, so it was not going to work. Walter's like, it didn't have to be like that. I mean, I'm just saying, we could have still been friends, but I mean, it just really didn't have to be like that. Well, it's like that. So see you at the reunion. Back with Aisha and Dante, he chose her, and Aisha is singing his praises as she likes to do. Honey, y'all know how she likes to do. And she said he's everything. He really makes her feel special and he makes her feel safe. So it took me some time to get to the place that you wanted me to be. Oh, now I'm ready. I'm ready, except Walter to love. And that was the end of the episode. Then we see Dante saying as the music is playing, you know, I feel like I won the lottery with Aisha. Honey, you're going to need to win the lottery so that she can stay home and you can take care of all them children. And that was the end of the episode. Child, y'all tell me exactly what y'all felt about this episode. Did it give the zhuzh that you thought it was going to give? Were you surprised that Sabrina and her statement necklace took her roses and bounced? Were you surprised that she left Walter standing there with his ankles out? Did y'all see the previews for the reunion, honey? That's what we really need to get to. Child, we're going to do a live tomorrow night so we can talk about this. Then we're going to do another live so we can talk about Married at First Sight. Y'all meet me here, same time, same bat channel. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.